Hi everybody, welcome back to DAYZ, and what you're going to see in this video is a comparison of DAYZ on PlayStation, although this applies to Xbox just as well. A comparison of it running on the standard hard drive, which is what you're seeing now, me running along this road, and then when this clip is over, it's going to change over to a clip where DAYZ is installed on an external SSD solid state drive that's plugged into the USB port of my PlayStation 4, just a normal PlayStation 4. But this works just the same on the Xbox, because the problem that the PlayStation and the Xbox have, and PCs have as well, is that games like DAYZ and PUBG need to copy an enormous amount of data into the memory of your console in order to show you these massive maps we have. And the standard hard drive, the spinning platters that are inside, just can't do it fast enough, and that's why you end up with stuttering, and the game seeming to chug along a lot of the time. But with an SSD, with an external SSD, which that's easiest type to get, you can just plug in, format it, and copy the game to that. It enables the game and it enables your console to copy that data much faster. Now, the reason why I've got an SSD isn't for DAYZ, but it's for PUBG, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, on Xbox and on PlayStation. Especially when it first came out on Xbox, was pretty rough. It really was, and it had lots of troubles with popping, and the fact that the assets wouldn't be there on the map. You know, when you fire up DAYZ, and it takes a while to load, you know, and the buildings and everything loading around you. But it was like that in PUBG as you were diving onto the island. And if you copied PUBG onto an SSD and ran it off an SSD, it was a completely different game. It was so much better. And that's still pretty much the case today. So that's why I wanted to try out DAYZ on an SSD, and I have to say it does run smoother. Now, these examples you're seeing here probably aren't the best examples, because what happens is when you're moving into a different area in DAYZ, and especially this is in the case of things like built up areas, you know, the bigger towns and the cities, is all this data is being loaded from the hard drive or the SSD into the memory, so it can then show it to you, you know, render it and figure out what's going on. But it does it the worst way, if like the worst scenario for it, is when you're moving into a fresh area. And in these clips where I run backwards and forwards, it's already loading that stuff into the memory, so that on the run back, you probably really won't see that much difference at all. But I have found playing DAYZ on the standard internal hard drive on my PlayStation, it definitely chugs a lot more than it does on my when DAYZ is installed on the external SSD. Now, external SSDs, they're not cheap. The one that I've got this one installed on is a Western Digital My Passport 256GB SSD. I'll put a link to the review I did of it in the description box below. I think I got it for about £80. So it's a fair chunk of the price of a console. But on games like DAYZ and games like PUBG, it can make a bit of a difference, and you may even find you've got a portable SSD hanging around that you've had that you can plug in and give it a go. I would say if you play DAYZ all of the time and you notice that it chugs a lot and it bothers you, then I would say it might be worth investing in an SSD. If you're not really bothered by it and it doesn't seem to, you're happy with the way DAYZ runs, don't worry about it. But there we go. That's how you can make DAYZ run better. Install it or copy it to an external SSD on your Xbox or your PlayStation, and it will run that little bit smoother. Anyway, that's enough for me. If you enjoyed the video, hit subscribe. If you want some more of the same, well, press like, and I will see you again soon.